Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, your favorite governor here again, giving you your dose of anti-stupidity so you don't get sick of that. As recent developments on this week, I want to share with you the great news that we're having right now. And it happens that Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, is problematic. As another development, it seems that candy canes are bad. They stand for Jesus. Oh my. The reason I'm doing this video today is, there we go, because I was having a little reflection the other day and thinking, that thing that very occasionally some human beings do. I wish we do it more often. I think it would be better for the human race as a whole. And I made that video the other day regarding interactions with men and women, and white men never actually take any kind of aggressive action against women, and white men tend to defend women, and why this whole Me Too movement, and why the whole always believe women. What all this? What is all this rooted? So I explained at that time that it is based on the very simple, very factual fact that if you don't take care of women, your civilization is gone. Very simple. Men don't get pregnant. Too bad for you. I see women. We have managed to create this beautiful environment. Let's say this thing that we call Western, very important civilization, in which we have created. We men have gone out of our way to create all these system which protect women and I think we have taken it a little bit too far, at the point that we are keeping women in a permanent infant state, never allowing them or never pushing them to take ownership for their own decisions, either for failure or for disaster. And that is having some very, very serious consequences, unfortunately. Oh, by the way, just letting it drop in there. Babies call outside. That's a bad one too. Old Frank Sinatra must not be happy. So, going back to the subject, once again, we have created this beautiful Western civilization that have been going way out of its way to protect and love and keep women safe for all these years and all this time, at the point that men are sacrificing, throwing themselves under the bus, which we always have done. But it have come to a very extreme point right now, and women are despising the same thing that is keeping them, and I've brought them all the way up to here where we are right now, which is by far, compared to what? By far the best place woman can ever be, and women have ever been in the history of civilization. If you don't believe me, you can visit place like, I don't know, Yemen, I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be fun if you're a woman. Men, of course, have their perks, because we always do, regardless of where we are. But women are having a slightly very hard time over there. And I should say Yemen, but the whole region is kind of hard on women. Let's be euphemistic. And some women have come to the point, here in the West, of course, never over there, that men are obsolete for some reason. They don't need men anymore. And that's why I want to make this video. This video is for men. But if you're a woman and you're watching this, well, welcome. I hope you're one of those rational women. You're welcome to comment and let your feelings come to the surface so we all can see and understand. But if you're a man, this is directed to you. I want you to pay attention to this. What I failed to mention in that other video was that it's all an illusion that women have created. And I think we have managed to disconnect ourselves and a woman from reality for quite a while, and that is coming back and biting actually everybody in the butt. Where do I want? I was paying attention. I have posted some videos already, and I have noticed that the videos that I title regarding why it's hard to get quality woman, or that kind of thing, are the ones that are getting the most views. And there is one that I was over there in I think it was Texas, and I went in the border to see the wall, and that video got some views too. But mainly the ones that are related to why it's so hard for men to find quality women and all that kind of thing are the ones that are getting more views, and not others that I mention other problems with other things and stuff like that. So I make some points here that I want to go over. It's gonna be a short video. It's not gonna be very long. Some other videos that I do. So number one, if you're a man, please understand this. You always have had, and always will have, the things that women need, like real need, survival kind of need. Without the things that you can offer, women cannot survive. So you have a huge leverage on you as a male. And you need to know this. You need to understand this. Women are under the illusion, because once again it's an illusion, that they don't need males or they don't need men. Because once again, women have created all the civilization that it seems, as for right now, that it can function, that woman can function on this civilization without the help or without the direct help or direct assistance of any male. And that is correct. Good job for us, man. Women can can get out and work, women can earn their own money, and women can have their own houses, and women can buy their own cars, and women, and that is all fine. On top of that, we have several other, let's say, we're living in a gynocentric kind of society in which we have all these programs that are designed to help women thrive. We don't have too many for men. Actually, the right amount of programs that we have for men are, oh, let me see the number. I think I have it right here. 0. We got 0 programs to help men. Well, we have a huge variety of programs to help women. It could be child support, it could be alimony, it could be government sponsor jobs or government sponsored classes or courses or education, and it could be, I mean, there are all kinds of things that are designed for women. Not that many for men. Once again, the number, I gave it to you already. And they might think, oh, this is, of course, support by taxpayers. And once again, like it or not, the majority of taxes in this country, in this particular country, are paid by males, especially white males. So most of these apparently free programs that women have are paid for the tax code, which is the white Christian males. The problem with this is that, well, once again, I want to go back to the root of the thing. I want you to, if you're a young male and you're out there and you're looking for a woman, first you need, I will strongly advise you to do not chase women. If they're not chasing you, you're not quite there. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard because, well, once again, 80% of the women want 20% of the men. Because 20% of the men are successful and have, resources, and they have something going on for themselves, and it's just the good old hypergamies, resources seeking and all that. I don't want to go there, so just yet. I want to keep you going on this one. But if you're going to engage trying to pursue a relationship with the opposite sex, then it is important that you, any second, any time that you decide to approach a woman, you have to go with this mindset. You, as a woman, you need what I have. I want what you have, which is sex. I don't need it. I know it's hard. We men want sex. Like, don't get me wrong. We want it badly. And I get it. It's hard for you, especially if you want to have a kid. But we're gonna go over that later on. Well, give me a second. Let's go one step at a time. I know you want to have kids. Well, I know you want to have sex. That one I know for sure. But you don't need it. You're not gonna die if you don't have sex. And you have options. Women need your resources. Like, they need it. Because it's that or cats and dildos. And antidepressants. Because you have to throw that in the equation too. A huge percentage of women, since the takeover of feminism today, are in antidepressants. Like a serious, very high percentage. That is not good. So, you always will have the upper hand in the negotiation, regardless if they know it or they don't. But you have to know this for sure. You have what they want. Well, no, you have what they need. They have what you want. And you're willing to trade. And that is what marriage is back in the days. When marriage was something that women understood, that was put in place to protect women from a man going in, having sex, having kids, and then trading for a newer model. That was bad. No ethical. No moral. That woman gave you the best time, the best age of her life, and it's not good that a man does that to a woman. Back in the days, we understood that as a society, and we put laws in places to protect women against those kinds of practices. Now, women are charging with an axe against the same thing that are protecting them. Because men are patriarchal, and they are exploitive, and marriage is some kind of prison or something. So now that is bad. So, well, what can we do? We have to, in a way, abide and obey the forces of the market. You got what they need, they have what you want. Back in the days, that was the deal. When you get married, I'm going to have unlimited access to your sexuality. You were buying the rights over the sexuality of that woman. Don't get me wrong. That is how it works. Because that is how you got kids. And if you were not buying exclusivity over the sexual rights of that particular woman, that means that she could have kids with anyone else because, well, she was not yours, and anyone had right to her sexuality, and you will be raising kids of someone else's with your money and your resources, and that also is not very fair for men. So it was a very straightforward concept. I'm gonna buy the rights over your sexuality, and you're gonna raise my kids. Not all those guys' kids, but mine. And you are buying rights over my resources. Pretty sweet deal. You don't have to work if you don't want to. And you have access to all these that I have. You can use it at your disposal. But now, things have changed. Women always wanted to have all of the good with none of the bills. And that is bad. We cannot keep women living in this permanent state of infant, like an infant. Because they are not infants. They are adults. And they need to abide by rules. And those rules have to be respected. And they have to be bills. And they have to be goods. If you want the goods, you have to pay the bills. It cannot be given. And if you make bad choices, there have to be consequences. Otherwise, if there are not consequences for bad choices, there is no deterrent for not making bad choices. There have to be consequences. So you know that you have to refrain yourself, either man or woman, you have to refrain yourself of negative behavior or else. Going back to the subject, once again, you got what they need, they have what you want. You don't need it, but you want it. Right? Good. You have to make sure they understand this, and you, but mainly you have to make sure you understand this. There's nothing wrong, nothing sexist, nothing Nazi, nothing chauvinistic, nothing with this. This is the way things go. These are the rules of the game. Now, once again, they don't have to play this game as women if they don't want to. Because, well, let's say, as for right now, women are from, I think, 18 to 25 or 35, something like that. They're earning like 8% more compared to males in the same kind of field and all that. And but all this goes out of the window the second they decide to get pregnant. Because then things start getting interesting. Unfortunately, we haven't come up with the solution yet to the old paradox that you can be at two places at the same time. Only The only man that I know, he did that. Well, that I know. The only man that I hear, he did something like that was the good old Jesus Christ. But, he's kind of missing right now. So, women cannot do two things at the same time. Nobody can. They cannot be in two places at the same time. They cannot be pregnant and I mean, it's just bad. They could, but then they're going to be lacking monumentally at doing something. It could be work and it could be in a mother. So if they want to have kids and if they want to have a family, then they need someone to support them. Back in the days when things work, what I consider in a values based way, your male was there, your male counterpart, if you were a woman, your male was there to provide for you, because nobody ever thought in going out and riding the carousel and getting pregnant, because that would be catastrophic for a woman back in the day. Still is, don't get me wrong. But we have managed with government intervention not only to create virtually a world with no consequences, but actually to romanticize and kind of like idolize this woman that decide to go into this single motherhood kind of thing, and out of a sudden they are some kind of hero or something, because, well, once again, men are bad. They are always victims. Women are always victims, and men are bad, and these women are some kind of paradigm to look up to, which is absolutely insane. Back in the days, regardless of how horny you were, regardless of if you were a man or a woman, well, if you were a man, there were no consequences for you to go sleeping around, let's call it. Because, well, once again, you just walk up and walk away, and that's it. That was the end of the deal. Now, a woman didn't have any reproductions, let's call it controls. There was no next day pill or next morning pill or any contraception methods. And women have always and will always bear the responsibility of having the kid, because, well, unfortunately, men don't get pregnant. So back in the days, regardless of how horny you were, especially if you were a woman, you could not sleep around, because you understood the consequences of sleeping around and negative behavior. Because, well, you could get pregnant, and if you did, that was pretty much the end for you, because you were gonna be the whore of the town, and no decent man would ever marry the whore of the town. You couldn't get a job either, because who in his right mind is gonna associate with the whore of the town? I mean, it was bad for women, like seriously bad. And women refrained themselves for sleeping with any guy before marriage, because, well, once again, once you sign up the contract, you could sleep as much as you wanted to, and you could have as many kids as you wanted to, and there was only benefit for you. You were in a stable relationship, and you had a provider for you, and you could get pregnant, and that man, instead of working less, was men tend to work more. When you got a male and you have a wife, and your wife get pregnant, you tend to work more, because, well, once again, now you have another mouth, and you got the wife, and you got expenses, if you got this, and you get that, and you get all these things. When women get pregnant, they work less, for obvious reasons. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just the way it is. You cannot be in the two places at the same time. Then, I mean, it's hard to work when you're pregnant. Never been pregnant, but I can kind of imagine that it's slightly hard on women I can see. So they tend to work less. That means that whatever place women go, whatever profession they choose, that ends up, you end up needing more people involved in that profession because, well, women, purely business-wise talking, woman has a less return on investment than males or than men. They just do, for obvious reasons. Once again, you are a male, your wife gets pregnant, you work more. You are a woman and you get pregnant, you work less hours, less this and less that. And I mean, it gets hard for you, especially if you don't have a male counterpart. And this translates to the quality of life of the kid, and I mean, it keeps going down from there. It's bad. So back in the days, we understood this, and women understood this too, the consequences. But now, with once again, we males have created this Western civilization, and we created the law, and we created this, and we created that, and we have this very intrinsic feeling to protect our woman because, once again, men don't get pregnant, and if you don't protect your woman, let's say you're gonna send this is so stupid, man. Oh my gosh, I even feel bad, and I don't consider myself one of these men, but it's just pure logic. If you're gonna send someone to war, let's say you have to send 1,000 people to war, you're not gonna send your woman to war. Let's pretend for a second that women have the same physical strength and they have the same all the things that men have. Still, how can you send your woman to war? Who is gonna get pregnant? Who is gonna replace the numbers? They're dead now. Men, on the other hand, remember, 10 guys, 1 woman, 1 baby. 10 women, 1 guy. 10 babies. So, how can you cope with this? Well, what we're seeing right now is that, and what I failed to mention in that other video, why men never charge against a woman, is that men don't comply. Because we cannot comply with insanity. What we do is that we retreat. We retreat to, I don't know, I see so many males retreating to video games and retreating to, some of them work on themselves and they get to look good and they create companies and which at the same time it gets, it kind of accentuates the problem. And we just stop engaging. Which is sad because, once again, that means the death of civilization, your Western civilization. Because other civilizations out there, they know this, like, no problems, and they are not changing course. They don't have these conversations about men being bad and women. But no, this is not working in other places. I mean, this is not happening in other places. And they are replenishing their numbers. White couples in general, in average, are having 1.2 kids. These other people, let's say Muslim people, they're having 5 point something. How are you gonna replace your numbers? And these socialist governments that we see popping up everywhere, especially in Europe. I mean, we have this huge amount of governments in Europe, couples that either they don't have kids or they're not couples at all. And that is a model that they are imposing on you for a very simple reason. I mean, kids cost a lot of money, like serious money today. in the here and now. They later on grow up, and they grow up to pay taxes, and with those taxes you can support all kinds of government programs and pensions and retirements and all that. But in the here and now, they take huge amount of money, and every politician is gone in 4 tops 8 years, at least here in this country. And they want, it's like a CEO, they want their balance sheet to look good. They're not concerning the long term. They want their 4 tops 8 years to look good. And kids don't look good in the short term. Because they cost in daycare, they cost in healthcare, they cost in too many programs. They do. So the perfect storm that I see these politicians are creating is pumping up women egos with careers and degrees and bullshit jobs, paper pushing bullshit in a very small, artificially illuminated cubicle, and glorifying that like if that were more engaging and more challenging than raising the next generation of human beings. There is no job that is more challenging than having kids and raising them properly and educating them. Because you're gonna have a kid to throw me like a dog in the daycare, and then worse, in public school, then please don't have a kid. Just enjoy your life. Don't have kids. If you're gonna be a parent, then be a parent. And parent. Having kids and throw them like dogs. They bond to whoever raised them. If you throw them to the state, they will bond to the state. And they will vote for bigger state and bigger government, which translates to bigger government. Remember? Uncle Sam wants you. Blown in pieces. Why? It's your job to raise your kid, not the government's. I hope this doesn't sound too hard, but it's reality. You're too busy working, and you think that you're doing something for your kids because you buy them an iPad or something like that. The only thing that they want is you being there, not an iPad or a phone or anything. They want you to be there for them, especially if you're the mother, especially when they are very young. Now working, being there. Kids are, the study shows that kids suffer the same symptoms of abandonment if they are left more than 20 something hours or something without the attention, direct attention of the parents. So if you're leaving your kid 8 hours in daycare, that kid is growing traumatized already. Very sad. If that kid is a boy, how can that kid ever had any kind of positive, healthy relationship with a woman when he have to put up with that abandonment then, with that trauma early on in his life? There's no way. And then I see women complaining so often about the quality of men. Well, whose fault is that? Because 100% of the mothers are women. No way around that one so far. Too bad. Men have no reproduction rights, which I'm gonna go over that later on, but 100% of the mothers are women. A huge percentage of teachers are women. So you are taking care of men in their childhood, and then you almost raise them all the way up to almost adulthood. Women, teachers and mothers and all that. And then they complain that men are bad. Well, you did a bad job. If you don't like the way men are growing and treating and behaving and comporting, then that means that you as a woman you're doing a very bad job. Because mostly men are out of the picture now. Well, number one, they're working. The ones that are still with the wife. And number two, well, most definitely, there are too much single motherhood going on right now. Because the government is paying. It's an incentive for women to kick the men out of the house. This is the deal. If you kill your man, well, you have to cook, and you have to clean, and you have to iron the clothes, and you have to, do the whole wife thing. But if you kick the man out of the house, then your daddy, the government, is going to take care of you. Regardless of how bad you behave, regardless if you sleep around with every man, regardless if you do any kind of drugs, regardless of if you study or not, or you're bettering yourself or not, regardless of any of that, your daddy, the government, promise you that you're going to have the same check every month in the mail. And I question myself and I think, well, how can this contribute in any positive way? Because back in the day it was different. Back in the days there was no welfare state, and the government was very limited. And what you had to do in order to receive any kind of help, well, number one, you were depending on your family. Number two, you were depending on your friends, and number three, you were depending on your church. I'm not a church guy. I'm not a religious guy, but that's how the whole game. And I can clearly see how important the whole religious things is in the building of this Western civilization. I'm going to go over that later on. So, in order for any of these people or group of people to be able to help you, you needed to show that you were better and you were trying to get better.